Yo, what's up? Welcome back to the channel though. Today we're going to react to some Jubilee videos. I've been seeing this go viral, so we're just going to react to it. Uh, yeah, man. Without further ado, forget the intro. Let's just try to get into it. Yeah, this is gonna be a good one. All right, make sure you guys subscribe and let's try to get into it. Hope it's not getting away.
That I haven't claimed that.
Oh, what is this? Is this Christians versus atheists?
Don't be a smartass.
Either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
You're really quite something, you are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing. Right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him. Hello there. I'm Dr. Jordan Peterson,
Oh boy, I don't know how this is gonna go.
Professor Emeritus at the University of Toronto.
Just right there, I already know how it's gonna go.
Today I'm surrounded by
This is gonna be a long day, bro. 1 hour and 30 minutes, bro. Oh boy.
My first claim: atheists reject God, but they don't understand what they're rejecting.
Good afternoon, Dr. Peterson.
How are you doing?
So this claim here that atheists don't know what they're rejecting. My background is in studying to become a traditional Catholic priest, daily mass, daily rosary, going on long retreats, deep into the magisterium and biblical hermeneutics.
Then why are you here, bro? Then why are you there?
And it seems like I do know what I'm missing. Is there something that I missed over years of study, both this issue formally and living out religion? So
If he's a Catholic, why is he here?
You missed something when you were practicing for the priesthood. Your aim was off then. So there's always the possibility that it's still off now.
what was off about my aim in the first place?
I don't know. That might take a long time to figure out.
But then it seems kind of like this no true Scotsman type of fallacy in which you're the arbiter of people's aims and how they understand those aims to be. How is it that you can claim that people don't know something that you know about their life despite not having met them?
Well, it's obviously a generic claim, just like the atheist claim that there's no God is a generic claim.
Hold up. Let me just try it this way.
In your case, it would have to be specified more, and I'm not claiming to understand what was going on in your mind, but my experience with atheists is twofold. Is that they have a very reductive notion of what constitutes God, let's say in the Judeo-Christian tradition. And they've often been hurt by someone who was religious or by the religious enterprise or perhaps by God himself, so to speak, and that's left them with an animus.
But I think that you have a reductive view of what atheism is. You've defined religion so broadly to include any sort of having aim in life, any sort of cultural archetypes or having a metaphorical substrate. And atheism to you is a very specific type of like three people in the world that are these Raskolnikov type of, they want to get away with a perfect murder. It seems like you have the reductive view of what an atheist is.
Well, let's start with your claim. How do you define the God that you're rejecting? Like, what is God to you? You studied in the church, you found that unsatisfactory. How would you characterize what you rejected?
I think the average Christian believer, when they say that they're Christian and they believe, they mean some sort of God that is all-powerful, all-perfect, is somehow involved in the matters of this world, and that we look to them through wisdom and with Logos incarnate in Christ. And it also seems like you don't believe in religion in the way that the average Christian says that they believe in religion. And there are as many gods out there as there are believers, because everybody has mutually exclusive and different views of what God is. So it seems
Well,
like
if everybody had mutually exclusive views of what God is, no one could speak to each other. The mere fact of communication presumes a commonality of assumption and definition. And it's certainly not the case that I regard any archetypal manifestation whatsoever as equally religious. So that's not a real claim. Let me give you an example. For example, there's a sub-narrative in the story of Moses where Moses is rewarded with a glimpse of God. Okay, and that's one of the ways that God is characterized in the Old Testament stories. Now,
All I was doing is preaching and not actually answering the question. Come on, bro.
Moses is a faithful servant of God and a good man.
Imagine being atheist and not believing anything at all.
At least that's the case within the confines of the story.
That's how you sad way to live.
one possible
It's
interpretation.
the case within the confines of the story.
Imagine believing that you came from nothing. Makes no sense.
Obviously. But
Well,
there's
not
a,
obviously.
there's,
When we look at the Bible can't precisely say anything because there are so many different exegetical and hermeneutic views of this particular book, and that everybody has everybody has disagreed historically on. It seems like even the most benign detail about a book this big, and it seems like you can only say that the Bible says something if you first presuppose that it's univocal.
so your claim essentially is that Moses in the Old Testament plays the role of a villain or is irrelevant? Because the alternative claim
I'm
is
saying that we
he's
can't
good.
know because
Well,
we can't talk to those
look,
authors.
If you are going to start with the presupposition that there's nothing I can say about any of these stories that you're not going to disagree with from the perspective that there are multiple potential competing claims, then I can't speak with you. So
And
you
we
have
also have a short time here, so I want to get to the core of what you're arguing here, and I'd love if we could.
the
kind
core
get
of what
through
I'm
them.
arguing is that atheists reject God, but they don't understand what they're rejecting. So I'm trying to
Yes.
give you an example of what's being rejected and its complexity. Okay, so God rewards Moses with a glimpse of the divine. So this is a definition of the God that atheists are hypothetically rejecting.
A possible one.
I said ah.
Yeah.
I didn't say the.
I know.
said ah.
That is
Right.
possible, yes.
Okay. So despite the fact that Moses is a stellar character and he's had a long and difficult life and can withstand a lot of difficulty and travail, God puts him between two cliffs. So he can just see.
Okay, two of them are just not even talking about nothing, bro. It's just the claim of atheists rejecting God, bro. What the hell you guys talking about? Books and stuff. About the Bible. Let's move on to another one.
Surrounded is now a podcast, available wherever you listen. Search Surrounded.
Within science. Reality and purpose cannot be found within science.
Morality and purpose cannot be found within science.
What is up, Mr. Canada?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
What's
How are
your
you?
name?
Brian. I think it's interesting that you say that morality and purpose can't be found in science. Actually,
No, within science.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. Purpose, I actually grant you, because purpose is subjective, right? Unless you want to boil it down to the purpose of life is just to procreate, right? Sure, whatever. Morality is actually something that we do see. We actually have examples of Neanderthals and older individuals found in the tribe, missing an arm, missing teeth, still alive somehow in his 40s, 50s, right? Typically, you're a Neanderthal, you can't eat, you can't hunt, you die, right? But we know that members of the tribe are taking care of him, right? So we know that at some level, early in our evolutionary history, we actually developed altruism. We have examples of chimpanzees who actually have a basic understanding of fairness, right? If you give a chimpanzee 2 grapes, right, and his buddy gets 3.
Please do not tell me that he's gonna say humans were from chimpanzees, bro. Please do not tell me that, bro. You better not come with that weak ass arguments about humans becoming chimpanzees, bro. This guy better get on his ass for it, bro.
Right, he actually freaked out, right? But you give both chimps 3 grapes and they're good. We have examples of parrots.
Except for the greedy chimps.
Except for the greedy chimps.
They want 4 grapes.
They want 4 grapes. You know, those do exist, right? But we have similar examples where we do animal tests, right?
So morality is intrinsic.
I think
So it precedes science.
that actually
right?
a better way to define it would be that social animals, which we are, right,
Yeah.
require some level of morality.
The funny thing is, the atheist trying his best to try to justify his morality, even though his morality is objective as hell. Bro, like what the, but if you just look in their real view, bro, if you just tell them like a simple answer, a simple answer, I mean a simple question, I guarantee you they won't be able to answer like the most controversial questions. You tell the atheist, and then they will have like a total what's it called, a U-turn on that type of morality. I'm like, wait, hold up, is your morality not objective, bro? Like, you guys don't even have anything to believe in. You guys only believe in your own desires, bro.
Or
Into what? I'm not disagreeing.
Sure.
Why do they require that?
Because it's the only way that social groups can actually survive, right?
That's my point with
Sure.
regards to science. Thank you very much.
Is that
Precisely the point. that you just made, that science has to exist within a moral framework that isn't in itself scientific.
How's that not scientific?
Well, because it's not derived from the scientific process, as you just
It
indicated.
doesn't need to derive from the scientific process.
Well,
It's the fact that
hang on a sec.
we are social animals and we need that to exist as a group.
I
right?
agree.
We're not animals, dude. What the hell is this guy talking about? We're not animals, dude.
But
Sure.
you pointed to the morality of Neanderthals, to the morality of chimpanzees. They didn't derive that from science.
They don't need to. That's not
That's
how that
my
works.
point.
Science
I don't think this guy understands science.
explains it. So
No, science doesn't explain morality.
it doesn't explain how social animals.
Science doesn't explain morality, bro. It tells you the it doesn't tell you the purpose of life, dude. It only tells you what to discover, what to discover, and is a subject, bro. Science is a subject you use for this world to. Science is what is a subject you study in discovering the metaphysical world, like where you can observe and stuff. Like it's not it's not what you use to just to study the purpose of life, unless you get it from from a divine entity, which is God.
Would need to be.
Well, that's
altruistic.
a complicated question.
Is it? But we see it though.
Yeah, but explaining the evolution of morality and
That's a
explaining
dude.
morality itself aren't the same thing.
Okay, so you're asking why does this happen?
This guy didn't even say anything, bro. This Christian dude is not even saying anything about what the guy said, bro. This guy's not even saying anything. He's just saying that we're from apes and that's where we get our morality from, or something like, all right, we animals. Like what? What's the guy talking about? Unbelievable.
Yes, that's more accurate.
Because we're social animals. And we
Yeah,
need
but there's
to be.
more to it than that.
Is there?
Sure. For example, so we're moral animals that have a sense of the future.
Sure.
Okay, that makes us unique, and that structures our morality.
No, actually, there are other animals that can predict the future, or not
Not
predict
really.
the future. No, tigers. Actually, there was a tiger at the SF Zoo that killed somebody, and so
Hunting
actually,
animals.
no. No, kids threw shit at the tiger. The tiger actually plotted its escape, and it found the
I'm not
kids.
saying that animals can't think.
Okay.
No, but they can
pause here.
perceive the future. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
He's saying animal can see the future now? What the hell? This guy cannot be serious, dude. This guy cannot be serious, bro. I don't think this guy knows science or logic, bro. This guy says animal can see the future, but nigga thinks the animals are gods now, bro. What type of atheist is this dude, bro? What the hell? I can't believe Jordan Peterson is getting slammed by these atheists with this type of brain mindset, bro. Oh god, bro. See, bro. Unbelievable. That's embarrassing.
good man. Yeah. Atheists, even though they might not know it.
That is true. Everyone watches something.
Hi,
Good work.
thank you.
Hi there.
I'm Zena. So I want to start off with defining different.
Let's see how this guy handles this question, and how the atheist handles this question. Because this is an easy thing to get on the atheist mindset of this.
Yeah.
How do you define worship?
Prioritize.
Prioritize. So almost like having a preference over something rather than the
It's a
other.
hierarchy of preferences.
Yeah.
And you use it to direct your attention.
Right.
So whatever you're attending to, you're worshiping.
Right. So I've kind of become a little bit familiar with your idea of this value-laden hierarchy.
Yeah.
Right. And you kind of posit that at the bottom of this hierarchy, or you call it top or bottom, I
Yeah, right.
suppose. At the bottom of this hierarchy, this foundational priority in your life is going to be considered God.
That's
is that
right.
correct?
Yes.
Right. I'm trying to imagine a situation in which could there be that someone has a priority at their foundation that is different from someone else's?
Oh, definitely.
Right. So we can have different conceptions of God.
That's why we fight.
Right. So essentially, there's not one God, but there are multiple gods, and these gods exist in some realm of truth. It's true that this person has one God and it exists.
Yeah, probably better to think about it as multiple values, but that there's a hierarchy of values with something at the bottom.
Right. But at the
Or
bottom is
top.
God, and
That's a definition, yeah.
Yeah. So at the bottom is God,
Yeah.
and there can be multiple people with different conceptions of God, and they're each valid and being called God. So there are multiple gods that exist.
It depends on what you mean by valid. So far, so good, but it depends on what you mean.
Yikes. That's Christianity for you, bro. If atheists and Christians well, I'm telling you, if atheists and Christians are talking about the same morality, and then if the atheists get on them about multiple gods, it's over for Christians, bro. It's over for them. It's over for them. Oh man, that's embarrassing, bro. This guy, oh my god! Imagine, bro. Imagine getting body slammed intellectually from atheists, bro, and you got nothing to say
By
because you won't because you worship multiple gods too.
valid, because I would say that some foundational concept.
Like, like two logics, two unlogical people going at each other is funny, bro. That's embarrassing. That's why you just gotta have. That's why you gotta worship one God, and then you won't have this contradiction with each other and shit, bro.
Don't play out when they're implemented. So if you put the wrong.
Well, atheists trying to act like they don't worship anything, but they actually do. They worship their own desires. That's why they just don't want to worship anyone. So they want to worship themselves and what they do, and they don't want any responsibilities for their actions. So that's why they do a lot of evil acts and a lot of acts and stuff like that they don't want to say, like liberalism is in the Western world considers as a religion, because that's what they that's where they that's what they what's it called it follow whatever religion, whatever you follow, that's what you worship, dude. Whatever you prioritize and shit, and well, um in your day-to-day life, that's all you care about. That's what you worship, man.
Thing at the foundation,
That's what atheists do, bro.
you end up in hell, for example. That's what happens in totalitarian states.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're
So
saying
they're not all equal. Like all foundational principles are not equal.
Something that's something that's important and sacred and divine. That's what you That's something that's sacred, and important to you. Then that's what you worship, and especially for the religion perspective, whatever you think is that sacred, and whatever you honor, and whatever you what's it called, prioritize as what's it called it, especially especially when you kneel down to somebody, then that's what you worship. And people with no religion, they're trying to say, why do you worship this? Why you worship? Why you believe in God? Why you believe in God? But at the end of the day, everyone will worship something, especially people that worship care care only about money, and that's what they care about, getting money, and that's all they care about is doing that, is getting money, woman. Then then money is what you worship, and the only thing you care about is getting woman. Then woman is what you worship. You worship cars. You worship what's it called, any other desires that you want. Then instead of worshiping the divine person, the divine entity um that brought you here, gave you guidance with the book, only worshiping that one entity that created you into worshiping multiple entities, then your life is going to be hell, because all you think, because like believing no God, then what's it called? All you can think about is like, hey, imagine not believing in God, like bro, like in the atheist perspective, like so you just die and nothing happens, like you just die and then just like everything blank. So I'm like, so what's your purpose of living then? Since what's it called? Nothing really matters. Like anything you do, it doesn't really matter, because there's no actually a purpose in life. Like imagine thinking that, bro.
equally foundational.
You can just do any type of crime and what's it called you imagine, bro, like you can do any type of crime, and it won't matter because you don't believe in God. So every morality is subjective anyways, their worldview. So what? So the first thing you should do to atheists is tell them like tell them about any type of crime is that wrong. If they say yes, then their moralities makes no damn sense and is a contradiction to their own self image. So that's the only because the only thing they care about is worshiping themselves and only care about their own selves and what they want. Okay, I talked too much.
Right?
So what makes one kind of foundational tenet like better than another one?
That's an excellent question. Iterability. Imagine that you play a game with someone and you're a kid, and it's fun. So then you play again and again and again.
So
Well, then
repetition.
it's playability across multiple iterations. So then you have a friend. And a friend is better than having a game, right? So that's one. Breadth of application is another. So if it's just for me now, it's not as good as something that would be benefit to both of us across time.
Right. So we're explaining like characteristics that can be applied to like these types of like foundational values. But why is it that this iterability makes it better, and what does better mean?
Summarize projects with AI that gets your business.
Well, one hallmark of better is likely to be selected voluntarily.
Right.
So it's invitational.
Another descriptive kind of quality. So we're talking about characteristics that in some type of system with a goal, an output being like, we could maybe say happiness, right? Or some type of
harmony.
Harmony,
Yeah,
right?
that's better. Not happiness precisely because it's too short term.
Exactly. So as someone who is an atheist, right, I can explain that within a system, there are things that we can see as better or worse to meet this goal or meet this output. But what we're interested in, though, is what could make these things, regardless of any system, right?
Well, imagine that you set up a system and you implement it, and it produces the opposite results to which you intend. Oh yeah, that's not a good system.
Exactly.
Right, so the foundational principles are lacking because when you implement them, the game degenerates instead of moving towards the aim.
Right,
Okay,
so we're talking about
okay.
within a system. When we talk about something being moral, right, just
When you tell atheists about morality, then that's when they and that's when you get them with the morality because they had no morality to stand. They had no foot or legs to stand on morality. If you talk about homosexuality to them, they'll say, okay, it's fine. And then when you talk to them about what's called brother and brothers, adults loving each other, they say, oh, whoa, no, that's different. I'm like, why? Love is love, right? That's the main quote. Love is love, right? And then that's a problem. But they had no question about that, so they had no morality to stand on. But like probably like 100 years from now, 50 years from now, incest would be a common thing, right? So when do we draw the line? And atheists have no moralities, and atheism is a religion that's super dangerous for humanity because they have the only thing they care about is the desires.
absolutely.
And the thing is, this guy just standing there and not saying anything, bro. Like, come on, dude.
It means that without a system, right, this thing is simply moral with no reason. Like, stands independent, this thing is good. So I'm trying to figure out if such thing can exist. And if so, do you believe that these things are moral in of themselves, like self-evidently moral, or are they moral in accordance with the system?
I can't define them any more accurately than I already did, really.
Okay. In regards to morality, when we talk about the divine, when we talk about God and religion, these moral tenets and religion, right, and God exists as good because it is God, right? So it's self-evident, right? Without any kind of goal or output, this thing is good. So I want to figure out how...
There's an element of that that's true. So for example, in the story of Job, Job is unfairly tortured in consequence of a bet between God and Satan. And so Job is emblematic of someone who's being hurt for no apparent reason. Okay, so Job's response to that is that he refuses to lose faith in himself, and he refuses to lose faith in the ultimate goodness of being. Okay, and those are axiomatic decisions. They're not exactly evidence dependent because he is suffering. There's an arbitrariness in that that's reminiscent of what you claim.
So I'm essentially trying to figure out, do you believe that something can be good, like stance independently? Something that can be good?
I don't know what you mean by stance independent.
Jordan
So I mean,
Peterson,
people?
more like Jordan Lamerson.
More so, I want to be more specific. Something
Okay,
that
I
can
stopped.
be good, right? Regardless of any end goal. It's just good.
No, I think good is tied up with goal.
Goal, okay. I completely agree. So, in a sense, this is why...
That's why the religious goal in Christianity is the establishment of the kingdom of heaven on earth. It's goal dependent.
Okay, right.
So it's in reference to a goal.
So,
or the goal would be the imitation of Christ.
Someone's goal, right, can be something that doesn't encompass being in congruence with God or being with God.
No, the thing that they want to be in congruence outside the Christian domain.
Right.
They're
so is that person
addressing
Christian, though? Is that person
Well,
Christian?
to some degree, again, that's a matter of definition.
Exactly.
Because they wouldn't be proclaiming Christian propositions, but they're acting out the pattern. Right? So, yeah, so you imagine that full Christianity would involve a dozen things. And you can imagine someone who knows nothing of Christianity, say, acting out 8 of them.
Right.
Right.
So
then they'd be 8/12ths Christian or something like that.
Christian.
Well,
but to be like a full Christian, how can someone say I am Christian? Like I am Christian, not 8/12ths, but Christian.
Well, I hesitate to do that personally because I think it's the kind of goal that you be very careful about proclaiming. The technical.
But belief is not necessarily, to be mostly Christian, belief is not necessary. 8/12ths or, right?
Well, it depends on what you mean by belief. See, because I would say that acting out the pattern is the deepest form of belief. Now, you could add to that what you say. So, maybe in the optimal situation, how you act and what you imagine and what you say, they're the same. Right? But you could imagine a hypocrite who says all sorts of wonderful things and does nothing, and you could imagine another person who acts in a very positive manner but proclaims nothing.
So what I'm kind of seeing is like a descriptive, a really comprehensive but descriptive analysis of human action, human thought, and by which we can characterize people and put people in boxes, but I don't see...
Why in boxes?
Like, when I say in boxes, I mean like I can categorize you based on your actions, not based on necessarily what you say, but based on your actions that you are more so or less so Christian, right? Things like that, right? So we can categorize people as Christian.
Well, I would say more or less voluntarily self-sacrificing.
But that's also what we came to, though, is that someone can be
like
60% or 70% Christian.
Pause there. You've been voted out by the majority.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
Really, very thoughtful.
Hey, Dr. Peterson.
How are you doing?
Danny, nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Danny.
Danny.
You say atheists worship things or people or places, whatever. Can you be very clear about your definition of worship again?
Attend to, prioritize, and sacrifice for.
Okay, that's it. That's your understanding of worship.
Well, I could flesh it out, but that'll do for the time we have.
Okay. Do Catholics attend to Mary?
Yes.
Okay. So do they fit that description of worship?
Yes.
So you would say Catholics and other people that revere Mary, like the Eastern Orthodox tradition, worship Mary.
Well, they might not put her in the highest
But
place.
you would put it that way.
What's my like?
Now you're taking it back.
There's
now?
still a hierarchy.
Okay, there's a hierarchy, but within the
There's something at the top.
All right, you can worship things
Mary is
below.
quite a ways up the hierarchy, but not at the top.
Let's go over your definition of worship again. What's your definition of worship?
Attend to.
Attend to.
Prioritize.
Do Catholics
sacrifice for.
Do Catholics attend to? Do they prioritize Mary over all other human beings?
No, I didn't say overall, did I? I didn't add that to my definition.
You understand?
I said there was a hierarchy as well.
You attend to.
So you can attend to something trivially, or you can attend to it deeply.
And now you're adding stuff to the definition, but your original definition.
I added the hierarchy part.
Oh boy.
Are you familiar?
Oh boy.
Are you familiar with the Immaculate Conception?
Why is that relevant?
Because you go to a Catholic.
Oh, that's embarrassing, bro.
You've attended recently. You're interested in Catholicism, aren't you?
Sure.
All right. Are you familiar with their doctrines?
Somewhat.
Okay, you're
Their
familiar.
doctrines are
How
very
do they
deep.
regard Mary?
Why are you asking me that?
Because you're a Christian.
You say that. I haven't claimed that.
Oh, what is this? Is this Christians versus atheists?
I don't know.
You don't know where you are right now.
Don't be a smartass.
Well,
and I mean
either you're a
because
Christian
I won't
or you're
talk
not.
to you if you're a smartass.
Oh, either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
I could be either of them, but I don't have to tell you.
You don't have to tell me. I was invited
boy.
to talk to a Christian. Am I not talking to a Christian?
No, you were invited to.
I think everyone should look at the title of the YouTube channel. You're probably in the wrong YouTube video.
You're really quite something, you are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing. Right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
Imagine, bro. That's so embarrassing, bro. Imagine getting roasted and demolished by an atheist, bro. That's what you. That's how it is, bro. That's how it is, bro. That's how it is, bro. If you're watching multiple gods, bro, even the atheists will have something on you, bro. Uh, Alhamdulillah for Islam, bro. If it was a Muslim, if it was a Muslim on here, bro, a Muslim will demolish all these atheists, bro. But this Christian going to PC, and he really had nothing to say to any of the atheists, bro. The guy, because like imagine, bro, you literally have a guy that's trying to give morality to atheists, even though this guy worship a human. Christians worship a human being as well. So both so both of them don't even have what's called legs to stand on and shit, bro. When it comes to worship, man, even the atheists have something to intelligent. Imagine, bro, atheists have something to demolish a person that has a belief for God, which is Christianity, bro. Even Christianity can be demolished by atheists, bro. That's embarrassing. That is embarrassing. They're laughing at you too, bro. Come on.
Hi there.
Hi, nice
What's
to
your
meet you.
name?
Gerard.
Hello, Gerard.
Nice to meet you, sir. So you've said that worship is when you prioritize and sacrifice for something, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a hierarchy in there.
Sure. So I prioritize.
Well, I keep saying the
and sacrifice
hierarchy.
for my wife more than I would prioritize and sacrifice for a random person on the street, right?
Probably, yeah.
Presumably. Do I worship
I don't know.
my
I've
wife?
seen some pretty bad marriages.
Assuming a good marriage, are you saying I worship my wife?
I'm trying to define worship.
Well, that's what I'm asking. So prioritize and sacrifice. I do
The
those
higher
things.
it is in the hierarchy, the more what you're doing is akin to worship. But even in your trivial acts of attention, you're prioritizing and partaking in worship, even if you don't know it.
So I am
And it's
prioritizing.
partly, well, with regard to your wife, say. So why do you value your wife? You do value your
Yes,
wife.
I love her, so I
Right.
prioritize and I
Okay.
sacrifice for her.
Right. So that's within the confines of love, let's say.
Sure.
What else does it serve?
What else does what serve?
Your love in your marriage?
I'm married to my wife because I love her. That's
Yeah.
also why I prioritize and sacrifice for her. I certainly wouldn't think I worship her, and I don't think anyone else would make that.
I'm
Are you
trying to
making
make
that
a
claim?
definition.
Okay.
Yeah, that there's a hierarchy of attentional priority, and as you move up it or down it, depending on whether you think about it as a pinnacle or a foundation, you move more towards worship. Right,
Okay.
so even the small things, I'll give you an example. Imagine you go on a date. Well, and imagine that your aim is a long-term relationship like a marriage. Okay, now imagine that your aim is short-term sexual gratification. Your pattern of attention is going to vary during the date, depend on your ultimate end. That's the hierarchy. The way that you attend to your wife is dependent on your ultimate aims, even if you don't know it.
So at what point is it worship? Because it sounds like you're saying
It's
worship is
shades.
almost a spectrum, right? Or it's not a binary. It's not a.
It's kind of like
Well, if you're working a 9 to 5, working your ass off to provide for your family, what's provide for your family, provide for your woman, provide for your like that's all you care about is providing, gaining money, providing. That's all you do. That's all you do in your life is do that is to what's it called it? Get money so it can sustain your family. That instead of focusing on the main objective of your purpose of life is to worship your creator. And that is why people can worship other than God, which is money, your job, even your own woman. So that is what people would say worship.
That's a good question. It's like
When is it worship as opposed to just I love my wife?
the closer you get to the top or the bottom, the more it's more like
How close
worship.
to the top? Because I don't think I worship anything. And if you're saying I have to hit a certain threshold for it to be worship, it is possible I don't worship anything then, right?
It's not possible that you don't worship anything.
What do I worship?
Because you wouldn't attend. Well, love.
So you think I
apparently.
worship love?
Do you attend in consequence of love? I'm trying to define something. What do you mean worship? I told you what I meant. What do you mean?
So I mean, something you worship is something that you have a reverential view for in a manner in which you believe it to be above and beyond normal. But I don't worship her, nor does she worship me.
By the definition you just offered, yes, you do. Because you just offered a definition that involved prioritization and elevation.
Well, and thinking that she is divine above and beyond what a normal, natural
women.
phenomenon can be. Not other women, no, beyond any human being could ever be. I will prioritize her over any other human, but I don't think that she is some
You're making
supernatural
the
being.
assumption that only the thing at the top.
Oh boy, that was hard to watch. But yeah, bro. Why did never have any like Muslims what's it called facing against the Christians, or like one Muslim versus 108, I mean like whatever 108 years or something, or Muslim versus the Christians. I guarantee you, bro, they know why they don't put the Muslims in there facing off against any other religion, because they know the Muslims will destroy them in morality and everything, because Islam is number one. Because I know, but I can see why they try to put Christians and atheists against each other, because Christians had no legs to stand on, atheists had no legs to stand on. That's what's interesting. But make it more interesting and put a Muslim in there, because they know that a Muslim gonna destroy their moralities, bro. Oh my god, that was so embarrassing to watch, bro. He was getting destroyed by the atheists, bro. That gotta be embarrassing, being destroyed by atheists. But anyways, if you guys want to see more, if you guys actually want me to actually smash the like button, if you guys actually want me to do a hold on. Let me know if you guys actually want me to do another video on Jubilee reacting to this LGQTV dude against 25 conservative, because uh, my friend actually told me that this is really weird. This guy's really weird on his moralities as well. He's probably, but yeah, bro. Just let me know if you guys want to see us. Smash a like, comment what you guys think about this video, and yeah, I see you guys on the flip side. Deuces.